My name's Darren McLaughlin. I'm the manager of Bookhaus. A few weeks ago, the owners of the bookshop told me that they've decided it's time to retire and that they would like to sell the bookshop to me so that I can continue to run it in the spirit that it's been run for the last 4 years. I grew up in a single parent household in a council estate. I don't have any family money I can turn towards. So in order to be able to raise the funds to be able to buy Bookhaus and keep running it the way it has been up until now, I decided it's time for me to turn to a crowdfunder and see if I can ask people to help us out with that. My ambition and my vision for Bookhaus is that Bookhaus is going to be here for decades to come. It's going to be a place that writers coalesce around and that readers coalesce around. And you know, within the history of literature, places like City Lights or Shakespeare and Company have a place in history because they were there and they were instrumental in certain books being published, certain literary movements going forward. That's what I want to see from Bookhaus. I want to see us as a kind of cultural node which sees ideas rippling out in Bristol and further beyond. And I feel like we are doing that. We are achieving that. We're members of the Alliance of Radical Booksellers, so we have a kind of exchange and we're in contact with bookshops around the country, but we're also in contact with international publishers, international writers, international readers. That's what I want to see. I want to have the ambition where we're kind of spreading our ideas and our influence, not just in Bristol, but further beyond. I know that there's a long-standing tradition in history of radical bookselling in the UK, but unfortunately, many of those bookshops, if not most of them, have gone out of business over the decades for all sorts of reasons. And I feel like perhaps some radical bookshops are trying to tap into too narrow an audience or too narrow a market because they're really only trying to appeal to people who are already particularly interested in politics. That's not necessarily what we're trying to do here. We're trying to offer a bookshop that is a space for everyone. We've got a really great cookbook selection. We've got a great selection of diverse children's books. We've got books on gardening and nature. We've got lots of graphic novels. We've got lots of books by independent literary publishers. And we also have books that are on political subjects, books on climate change, books on race, books on feminist issues, books on LGBT culture.
I think they're like fundamental to the cityscape because they're such important resources of the kind of personality of the city.
Well, I think bookshops, especially independent bookshops, they draw people who are interested in these ideas and ideas that challenge structures, and certainly structures that are sort of damaging us and the way our life is at the moment. So it's a perfect space for these ideas to share them and spread them around.
The events are amazing, the talks are great as well. There's lots of inspiration just come from a talk about community energy, which was really inspiring. Lots of actions to take away as well. And it's just lovely to have conversations with people and connect with them as well.
I feel really at home. And I love the selection of books here. It's like being curated, your books, which is great, so you don't have to go on the internet. And then you just, you don't have the selection there, but here you can look around, they've been thoughtfully selected, marginalised voices have been prioritised, books you might not have considered are there waiting for you on the shelves.
And the thing about Bookhaus that I love is how political it is. I come here every time I want to buy a book for my children that I know is not going to be drivel, that I know is going to help them expand their imaginations. And this bookstore is just great. It's just, this selection of books here is just amazing and wonderful, and each one is so thoughtfully considered.
When I opened the shop, Bookhaus, 4 years ago, my aim was to create a shop which would be a real part of its local community, and at the same time a shop that reflected the radical traditions of the city of Bristol.
If you're looking for a home for black writing, then you come to Bookhaus. It's Bristol's home for LGBT writing. It's Bristol's home for a diverse range of children's books.
And I think over the last 4 years, with its incredible events programme, I think the shop has really sunk deep roots in the community and in the city. And that's entirely down to the work of Darren and the wonderful team at the shop. And I'm really pleased that as I'm retiring, to be able that Darren and Phil are going to be taking over the shop and be able to take it forward in the years to come.
We're part of the way there already. I've formed a business partnership with Phil Wrigglesworth, who is the publisher of Left Cultures magazine. He has invested money, so we're part of the way there already. We just need to kind of raise enough funds to be able to get over the finish line and raise what we need to raise in order to be able to take this forward and keep Bookhaus running for decades to come.
And I think that's one of the things that the bookshop does really well, is it brings together radical ideas together with progressive ideas, normalises them in a really friendly, open and inclusive space. I think Darren's done an amazing job of supporting creativity and culture, writing and ideas from Bristol. It's just a really important thing for the bookshop to kind of continue and to grow and to develop.
If I don't end up taking over Bookhaus, then the bookshop will still be available for sale on the market. The fact that I want to make sure that we retain like a shelf of children's books about things like neurodiversity or disability or refugee rights. So we need to raise at least 15,000 just to get us over the line. But really the stretch target is we need to raise 45,000 altogether, and that would put us in a position in which we know that we could continue to trade and we know we can continue to pay our staff and continue to pay the rent, and that we would have a solid commercial footing to move forward. So what we're asking you to do is to support our crowdfunder. There's going to be lots of rewards and tiers and prizes available that are being donated by lots of our friends and supporters. So have a look at our crowdfunder, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Blue Sky, sign up to the newsletter, and most of all, come down to the bookshop. We'd love to see you there. So support Bookhaus to continue to be Bristol's radical home.